You walk into your living room after spending the entire morning cleaning. The surfaces gleam, the floors shine, and everything appears spotless. Yet something feels wrong. There's an invisible weight in the air, a staleness that shouldn't exist in a freshly cleaned home. If this sounds familiar, you're not losing your mind. After 7 decades on this earth and countless conversations with friends and neighbors, I've discovered something remarkable. The dirtiest parts of our homes are often the ones we never think to clean. Today, I'm sharing 10 forgotten spots that silently sabotage your home's freshness. These aren't complicated solutions or expensive tricks. They're simple wisdom that can transform how your home feels in just minutes each week. The hidden truth about home cleanliness. You know, there's something my grandmother used to say, the devil's in the details. She wasn't talking about religion, she was talking about housekeeping. Those tiny, overlooked corners where dust settles, germs multiply, and odors take root. Most cleaning advice focuses on the obvious stuff. Vacuum the carpets, scrub the toilets, dust the furniture. But what about the places your hands touch dozens of times daily? What about the hidden collectors of moisture and grime? These forgotten spots don't just affect how your home looks. They impact how it smells, how healthy it feels, and most importantly, how comfortable you feel living in it. Spot number 1, door handles and light switches, the silent germ highways. Let me ask you something that might surprise you. How many times did you touch a door handle today before noon? If you're like most people, you've probably lost count. From the moment we wake up, our hands are constantly reaching for handles and switches. The bathroom door, bedroom light, kitchen cabinet, front door. We touch these surfaces more than we touch our own faces. Yet when was the last time you actually cleaned them? Here's what shocked me. A friend of mine couldn't figure out why her grandson kept getting sick every time he visited. The pediatrician ran tests, checked for allergies, even suggested changing his diet. Then one day, she decided to wipe down all the door handles in his room with a disinfectant cloth. The illnesses stopped. Was it coincidence? Maybe. But I've learned that small changes often create the biggest differences. Your weekly solution: grab a microfiber cloth and some gentle disinfectant. Even diluted white vinegar works beautifully. Spend just 5 minutes wiping every door handle and light switch in your home. Pay special attention to the bathroom, kitchen, and any doors that guests frequently use. For light switches, use a barely damp cloth. You don't want moisture getting into the electrical components. The key is consistency, not perfection. Spot number 2, remote controls, the living room's dirtiest secret. Now, let's talk about something that might make you uncomfortable. When did you last clean your television remote? Think about your evening routine. You settle into your favorite chair, maybe grab a snack, and reach for that familiar device. Your hands might have traces of dinner, lotion, or simply the natural oils from your skin. All of that transfers to the remote, button by button, day after day. I remember visiting my neighbor Eleanor last spring. She kept complaining about a musty smell in her den that wouldn't go away despite her best cleaning efforts. She'd shampooed the carpet, washed the curtains, even bought expensive air purifiers. One afternoon, I noticed her remote control looked, well, let's just say it had seen better days. The buttons were sticky, and there were visible crumbs wedged between them. We cleaned it together that day, really cleaned it, with alcohol and cotton swabs. The smell disappeared within hours. Your weekly solution: remove the batteries first for safety. Use a cloth slightly dampened with rubbing alcohol, the 70% kind you find at any pharmacy, to wipe the entire remote. For those stubborn spots between buttons, a cotton swab dipped in alcohol works like magic. If someone in your home has been under the weather, clean the remote daily until they're feeling better. It's such a small step, but it protects everyone who shares your living space. Spot number 3, baseboards, the dust collectors you never see. Here's something that might surprise you. The dirtiest part of your room isn't where you think it is. It's not the coffee table or the windowsill. It's down at your feet, running along the bottom of every wall. Your baseboards are working overtime, collecting everything that falls, settles, or gets kicked up during daily life. Pet hair, cooking grease, dust from the heating system, even tiny particles from outside. It all ends up there, creating an invisible line of grime around your home. Most of us never look down there because, well, why would we? But that dust doesn't stay put. Every time someone walks by or a breeze flows through the room, those particles get stirred back into the air you breathe. I learned this lesson the hard way when preparing for my daughter's wedding reception at my house. As I was doing a deep clean, I finally got down on my hands and knees to wipe the baseboards. What I found horrified me: thick layers of dust, sticky spots near the kitchen, and even some mold growing in the bathroom corner. No wonder my home never felt truly fresh, despite all my regular cleaning efforts. Your monthly solution: start with your vacuum's brush attachment to remove loose debris. Then take a bucket of warm water with a few drops of dish soap and a microfiber cloth. Work your way around each room, paying special attention to corners and areas near doors and windows. For wood baseboards, use a wood-safe cleaner to avoid damage. The difference in how your home feels afterward will amaze you. Spot number 4, cabinet handles, the kitchen's hidden grease traps. The kitchen is the heart of any home, but it's also where some of the sneakiest cleaning challenges hide. Every time you cook, your hands pick up oils, spices, and food residue. Then, without thinking, you reach for cabinet doors and drawer handles. Over months and years, this creates an invisible film of grease and grime that most of us don't even notice, until it becomes so thick that the handles feel sticky to the touch. My friend Margaret thought her beautiful oak cabinets were aging and turning yellow. She was heartbroken, thinking she'd need to replace them entirely. But when I visited and took a closer look, I realized it wasn't age. It was years of accumulated grease around the handles that had spread to the surrounding wood. We spent one afternoon cleaning every handle with warm soapy water and a soft brush. By evening, her cabinets looked 20 years younger. Your weekly solution: mix a few drops of dish soap in warm water. Use a microfiber cloth to wipe down every cabinet handle, especially the ones you use most often: your spice cabinet, utensil drawers, and everyday dishes. For handles with decorative grooves or crevices, an old soft bristled toothbrush works wonders. If you have lots of cabinets, split the job. Do half this week, half next week. It keeps the task manageable while maintaining cleanliness. Spot number 5, toothbrush holders, the bathroom's forgotten health hazard. We're so careful about our oral hygiene, brushing twice daily, flossing, using mouthwash. But there's one thing most of us completely overlook: the container where our toothbrushes live. Your toothbrush holder sits innocently on the bathroom counter, but it's actually one of the most germ-friendly spots in your entire home. Think about it: wet toothbrushes dripping water, soap splashing from the sink, humidity from hot showers, and yes, even airborne particles from the toilet. All of this moisture creates the perfect breeding ground for mold, mildew, and bacteria. And every morning, you're putting a brush covered in those germs directly into your mouth. I'll never forget when my granddaughter complained that her new toothbrush tasted funny after just a few days. When I examined her toothbrush holder, something I'd honestly never thought to clean, I found a layer of brown, slimy buildup at the bottom. The taste problem disappeared as soon as we started cleaning the holder weekly. Your weekly solution: remove all toothbrushes and rinse the holder with hot water. Use a small brush or sponge with mild soap to scrub away any buildup, paying special attention to the bottom where water pools. If you see black spots or detect a musty smell, soak the holder in warm water with a splash of bleach for about 15 minutes, then rinse thoroughly. Always let toothbrushes air dry before putting them back, and try to keep them from touching each other. Spot number 6, entrance mats, your home's first line of defense. Every home has one, but most of us treat it like it's just decoration. Your entrance mat works harder than almost anything else in your house, capturing dirt, germs, pollen, and whatever else your shoes pick up from the outside world. But here's the problem: if you don't clean the mat regularly, it becomes a breeding ground for odors and bacteria instead of a barrier against them. Every time you step on it, you're not cleaning your shoes, you're adding to the problem. I learned this from my neighbor Dorothy, who couldn't understand why her living room always had a stale, earthy smell despite her meticulous cleaning routine. She didn't even own pets, but the smell reminded her of wet dog. One day, we decided to investigate her entrance mat, something she'd owned for 3 years but never once cleaned. When we lifted it up, the smell hit us immediately. The mat had been collecting moisture, dirt, and organic matter all that time, creating its own little ecosystem of odors. After washing and sun-drying the mat, the the smell vanished completely. Your weekly solution: shake out your mat outdoors every few days. You'll be surprised how much debris falls out. Once a week, vacuum both sides thoroughly. Monthly, if the mat is washable, rinse it with soap and water, then let it dry completely in the sun. If your mat can't get wet, wipe it down with a cloth soaked in diluted vinegar. This simple habit dramatically improves your home's air quality and gives visitors a truly clean welcome. Spot number 7, refrigerator handles, the kitchen's most touched surface. Your refrigerator door gets opened and closed more times per day than you can count. Getting breakfast ingredients, putting away groceries, grabbing snacks, storing leftovers, your hands are constantly reaching for that handle. But think about what your hands have been doing just before you touch the fridge. Handling raw meat, chopping vegetables, wiping up spills, or simply going about your daily activities. All of that transfers to the handle, creating a sticky layer of oils, food residue, and bacteria. The tricky part is that this buildup happens so gradually, you don't notice it until the handle feels unpleasant to touch. By then, you've been spreading those germs to your food and throughout your kitchen for weeks or months. My friend Robert was convinced his old refrigerator was ready for replacement. The handles looked dull and grimy, and he assumed it was just age showing. But after one thorough cleaning with the right supplies, that refrigerator looked brand new again. Your twice-weekly solution: use a microfiber cloth with a gentle disinfectant or a mixture of white vinegar and mild soap. If you have a stainless steel refrigerator, use a cleaner specifically designed for metal surfaces and dry it immediately to prevent water spots. Don't forget the area around the rubber door seal. Food particles and moisture love to hide there. For stubborn grime, a soft toothbrush can work wonders around the edges and crevices. Spot number 8, window tracks and sliding door rails, the hidden dust highways. Windows and sliding doors bring light, fresh air, and beautiful views into our homes. But there's a hidden problem lurking in those narrow tracks where the glass slides open and closed. These tracks become magnets for dust, pollen, dead insects, hair, and even small debris from outside. Over time, this buildup not only makes your windows harder to open, but also affects your indoor air quality. Every time you open a window, you're potentially stirring up months of accumulated grime. I discovered this during one of my spring cleaning sessions. After 15 years in the same house, I'd never once cleaned the window tracks. When I finally looked closely, I found thick lines of black, grimy buildup packed with dust and what looked like mildew. After cleaning them out, not only did my windows slide smoothly again, but I noticed my seasonal allergies were much more manageable. Your monthly solution: start by loosening the debris with a dry brush. An old toothbrush works perfectly. Vacuum up the loose particles with a narrow attachment if you have one. Next, wrap a cloth around a butter knife or small spatula, dip it in a mixture of white vinegar and water, and gently scrub the tracks. For tight corners, cotton swabs are your best friend. If it's been years since your last cleaning, you might need to repeat the process, but once it's done, monthly maintenance keeps everything running smoothly. Spot number 9, bathroom drains, the hidden source of mysterious odors. We spend so much time making our bathrooms clean and fresh, but there's one spot that can undo all that hard work: the drain. Whether it's in your shower, bathtub, or floor, that innocent-looking opening is collecting everything that goes down it. Hair, soap residue, dead skin cells, shampoo buildup, and natural body oils all combine to create a sticky, smelly sludge that clings to your pipes. This not only causes slow drainage and potential clogs, but also creates persistent odors that seem to come from nowhere. I remember helping my sister troubleshoot a musty smell in her otherwise spotless bathroom. We cleaned everything twice, replaced the shower curtain, even bought new towels. The smell persisted until we finally removed the drain cover and discovered a thick, dark buildup that had been fermenting for months. Once we cleaned it out, the bathroom finally smelled as fresh as it looked. Follow with half a cup of baking soda, then 1 cup of white vinegar. Let it fizz and bubble for about 10 minutes. This natural reaction breaks down organic matter. Finish with another round of hot water to flush everything away. For persistent odors, enzyme cleaners specifically designed for drains work wonderfully and are safe for most plumbing systems. Spot number 10, lamps and lampshades, the light diminishers. Here's something that might surprise you. The reason your room doesn't feel as bright and cozy as it used to might not be your eyesight or the bulbs. It might be dust. Lamps and lampshades are dust magnets, but because the accumulation happens so gradually, we rarely notice it. Over time, that fine layer of dust doesn't just look unsightly. It actually dims the light output and circulates through your air every time you walk past or turn on a fan. For those with allergies, asthma, or respiratory sensitivities, dusty lampshades can be a constant, invisible irritant, especially problematic during nighttime hours when you're trying to rest. My friend Henry was convinced his reading lamp was failing. He'd even bought new bulbs, but the light still seemed dim and yellow. When I suggested cleaning the lampshade, he was skeptical. It didn't look dirty to him. But after wiping away what turned out to be a significant layer of dust, that lamp was suddenly bright and clear again. He couldn't believe the difference such a simple step had made. Your bi-weekly solution: 4 fabric lampshades. Use a lint roller, soft brush, or microfiber cloth to gently lift away dust. If needed, a slightly damp cloth works well. Just be careful not to soak the fabric. Glass or plastic lamp covers can be cleaned with warm water and a few drops of dish soap, then dried thoroughly to prevent water spots. Always turn off the power and let bulbs cool before cleaning, and use a sturdy step stool if you need to reach high fixtures safely. Closing thoughts: the ripple effect of small changes. After all these years, I've learned that the most profound changes often come from the smallest actions. These 10 forgotten spots might seem insignificant individually, but together, they create the difference between a house that looks clean and a home that truly feels clean. This isn't about perfection or spending hours scrubbing every surface. It's about understanding that real cleanliness happens in the details, the places where life actually happens, where our hands go without thinking, where moisture and dust quietly accumulate. When you take care of these overlooked areas, you're not just cleaning, you're creating a healthier environment for yourself and your loved ones. You're improving the air you breathe, reducing the germs you encounter, and making your home a more comfortable, welcoming space. Start small. Pick just one of these spots this week. Maybe the one that surprised you most, or the one you realize you've been avoiding. Add it to your routine gently, without pressure or guilt. Because here's what I've learned in my many years. A well-loved home isn't perfect, but it receives attention and care in the small moments, in the forgotten corners, in the details that matter more than we think. Your home is your sanctuary. It deserves this kind of thoughtful attention. And more importantly, you deserve to live in a space that feels as clean and fresh as it looks. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these forgotten spots caught your attention? What small cleaning habit will you try first? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experience might help another viewer create a healthier, more comfortable home. And if this video brought you some useful insights, consider subscribing to Elders' Wise Insight. We believe that true wisdom isn't just knowing what to do, it's doing it with care, intention, and love for the life you're creating every single day.